Hi, Norm Schoonebeek here, founder of Cryptradology. How are you all doing today? And I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on in my world with Dan Hollings, the plant. I'm currently just doing phase one, is the auto trading bots. Um, I can't go into great detail how it works or what program we use because of our non-disclosure agreement, but just since we've been experiencing this major cryptocurrency and blockchain crash, um, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, my experience. I signed up for phase one in December. I started near the end of December and started studying the course January. In February, I started using the software that we use. It's on a website. It's web-based, a third-party company. You can do demo bots, so you can practice, and it's recommended you do that. You practice before you actually create a real bot with real money. So I started doing that to get familiar with the system, but I did see the prices were starting to drop on the popular cryptocurrencies. So I was waiting a bit to see how much it would drop. So anyway, and I was looking at my bots to see what coins were creating the most profit, daily profit. At some point, I decided to jump in with a light bot, and I went with AVAX Avalanche, which was working fine for about 2 months before we really went into a slide with the crash, and then it just kept dropping the value of AVAX along with everything else. When I started my bot, it was somewhere around $100 a coin. Similar to Solana, but just before the crash, I started wondering, well, why are these around $100 a coin when the other competitors to Ethereum, Cardano, XRP, they're less than $1. So I start to get concerned, but I got concerned a little too late, and then before I knew it, my AVAX or Avalanche was worth about $20 or less, or went down to like $16, $17. So there was no loss of money as long as I didn't close my bot and sell the Avalanche coins. I could just let them sit in there. There was some, it would fluctuate with the way the bot is constantly making trades. When the price of the coins is in the zone of the grid, it's constantly buying and selling. But I had roughly about 30, 35 AVAX coins. And then my grid, the bottom of my grid was like $67 or so. So once the price plunged below that, the bot was no longer making trades. It was just sitting there doing nothing. I hadn't lost any money because I didn't close it out and sell the coins. And I could just wait. It's up to me. I could just wait and until the price came back up, and then it would start making trades again and making me some cash flow. But I got impatient. Dan Hollings came out with a different version of the bot. It's called the bottom feeder for during a crash like this, where it's plunged greatly and we're not sure how low it's going to go. I can't go into details again, but I was curious about trying it, and I just got tired of my bot doing nothing, so I did close it out. I didn't sell a coin because I was starting a new bot with the AVEX coins, but it's a bottom feeder bot. But still, like once I started that bot, it did sell some of the coins or whatever. It does stuff automatically, so it can start running the bot. Sometimes it has to buy coins, sometimes it has to sell them. Depending on what you already have in your account. So I did lose some money because coins that I paid, even at the bottom of the grid, $67, they were sold for whatever it was, roughly $20, $25. I don't know. I don't remember how many it was, but I didn't really care. Just for me, I don't have $100,000 or $200,000 in the bots, so it's not like my life savings, and it's a bit of a game. It really is a fun game. It's just fun to see that cash flow generated for you automatically. You don't have to do anything, just like you said. You do nothing. The software is just making the trades. It's fun. It wasn't fun seeing the value of my AVEX plunge like that. Like you start the regular bot, I usually start with a minimum of $3,000 to make it profitable, is what he figured out. And then I saw the value of that just decrease and decrease and decrease as the value of AVEX decreased till I don't know, it was worth about that $3,000 bot was only down to like worth $1,000 and even less than that or whatever. But so I lost money by closing it out, starting the new bot. But that was my decision. I didn't have to do that. There were other people, they have like 10, 20 bots running. They got $50,000 in their bot account or $100,000, and if they were to close those all out, you'd be talking about a lot more money that they would be losing. So even though the value of their accounts may have dropped up to 80%, they aren't losing any money or didn't lose any money unless they decide to close out the bots and sell the coins. They as long as they didn't sell the coins at the lower 80% discounted price, they haven't lost any money. They still own the coins. It's just not running in the bots if they close the bots. But how long do you wait? It could take 6 months, it could take a year, it could take 2 years. I noticed, if you look at my Facebook page, it was about 3 years of a wide side channel from the last crash. So depending on how much a person would lose, they have to make that decision. If they start to see it takes a year, it's taking 2 years, you have to balance that out and make that decision. Do you want to close out and get going again and making cash flow, and then make that amount you lost back with the cash flow? And then when things start, well, it seems like we're near the bottom, so once prices start going up, even if it's slowly, even if it takes a couple of years, you would make that loss back as it increase, and most likely it'll go beyond that, as history has shown. It's just that it would take you a while to make back the money you lost before you start making additional money. So that's something a person has to decide. I wasn't going to lose thousands and thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. So I closed it out. I started a new bot. The AVEX bot I started, I wasn't happy with for whatever reason. It's one of the top coins, and it just didn't have that much volatility. Again, I can't go into the details. The settings are different for the bottom feeder bots. So I was only producing, I think, like $2 a day or something like that. Producing something, but so I closed that out and I started a new one with another coin. I'm just running the one bot at this time, and that's doing a bit more. So far, it's only running 4 days, but it's producing a little over $5 per day, which might not sound like a lot, but you do the math, 5 times 365 days in a year, it's $1,800, $1,850 in the year. So you're doubling your money in the year compared to just a regular savings account. Traditional stocks, if you just buy and hold, you might get 10% averaged out over many years. I think it averages out about 10%. So we're looking at 100%. It just takes a year to do that. But for me, I wanted to do this program to help have passive income in a couple of years when I want to retire. So just taking this example, forget the percent. Where's my other screen here? All right, so now it's showing, I'm looking at the coin I have in my bot right now. It's showing 0.36% daily profit. I just figured the amount. It came out to about $5 a day, $18.50 a year is a little more than 100% because these bottom feeder bots, you only need $1,500 to start them. I started with $1,500. If I let it run for a year at this rate, I'll double my money, a little bit more, and then you can just extrapolate that. If it was $15,000, at this rate, that's an extra $15,000 a year for when I retire. If I did something like that, I don't have a pension, all I have is Social Security. So that would be a big help to have that extra, well, in this case, $18,000 a year. If somebody had more, again, you can extrapolate this. If they have $150,000, not that you would put it all in one coin, but you could spread that out up to 20 different bots, then at this rate, you're looking at $150,000 or $180,000 a year income, which is, how else are you going to do that? Unless you have a business, you have other people running your business when you retire, and it just keeps, making you money. Is there certainty to that? No, actually, it would probably be better by the time I'm ready to retire. We'll recover from this bear market, the crash, and it'll actually be quite a bit more as prices start to increase again. And then you can just keep adding more bots, whatever. So that's pretty much all I had to say. I think there was something else I wanted to say, and I forgot what it was. It's a risky investment. No doubt there's ample warnings at all the presentations that Dan Hollings gives. He starts each one with, cryptocurrency is very risky. It's unpredictable. It's highly volatile. It's a new industry. Regulations are changing all the time. So any certain amount of money that you could put into a particular coin or in a system or what they call a protocol, you could lose all that money. The easiest way to lose money, like he says right at the beginning, is you make a mistake entering a wallet address when you want to transfer money or coins, and you type in the wrong address. It's a very long string of numbers. There's a way to be more careful with that to make sure you don't make a mistake. And you learn that in the course. But it happens. People enter, if they manually enter the wrong address, your money or your coins are gone forever. There's no way to get them back. So that's the easiest and most common way people lose money. There's millions and millions of Bitcoin that are lost forever because people lost their password or passcodes to their wallets, and all those Bitcoins, thousands or millions, are just sitting there in wallets, and nobody has access to them. So you could do that. But the other thing is technology is constantly changing. There's all these coins competing with Ethereum, so who's going to be the next Ethereum, or the Ethereum killers at Cardano, Solana, XRP, once they're done with their lawsuit. Nobody knows. And at any time, you could have that one person that just comes up with this great idea for a coin or token that blows away everything else, phenomenal, and everybody just dumps everything else, and they all start buying that coin, and then the coin you had, the price drops like 90% or something, or it becomes totally worthless. So then, again, nobody has that crystal ball, so you're always taking a risk, and there's ways to minimize the risk. We happened to get in the last beta class enrollment, and then I enrolled in the first non-beta class. We were near the top of this last bull run. So, it was painful for all of us that put our money, fortunately for me, I only made one bot, $3,000. So, but a lot of the examples we saw of other students, Dan's earlier students, they, many of them had 10 bots going, some had like 20, and they had a lot of money in their accounts. And I can only imagine that, first they just went out of range. We saw, they're out of range, so none of them are making any trades, they're not making any money. That's fine if they just leave it like that. The market could turn around in a month, it could turn around in 6 months. They haven't lost any money as long as they don't close out their bot and sell their coins at the lower prices now. But for any of those people that needed some of that cash for emergencies or whatever and had to sell, that they've lost anywhere from 50 to 80% of the value that they paid for the coins originally. So it sucked. I mean, there was people in other protocols doing other things that lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, billions of dollars overall were lost with this crash. But that had to do with other protocols and tactics, techniques. People were over leveraging, buying crypto on loans, thinking that the value of the coins is just going to keep going up and up and up. So the interest they're paying or would always be less than the money they were making with the gains of the price going up. And a lot of that was based on there's models of all the cycles of Bitcoin that projected this bull run was going to go to $100,000 per Bitcoin. So as people were borrowing coins, or borrowing money to buy the coins, with that assumption that they could pay the interest of the loans or pay back the loans from money they made as Bitcoin went up to 100,000, and it never did. It went up to 64,000, and then it plunged, and it's now about 20,000. So that was the main cause of that crash. But as far as the phase one of Dan Hollings, the plan, it's a solid system that you're taught. You're taught all the basics about trading crypto, how to open accounts, how to move crypto around, how to exchange your money from regular US dollars into crypto. There's a ton of information, the different exchanges and things. And then you're taught in detail what the website and the software is that does the automatic trading, the bots, and what the proprietary settings are that he tested for over 4 years with thousands of bots and millions of dollars. You learn that in that course. So that's solid. It works. It's just like you said, it's automatic. You don't have to do anything if you don't want. And hopefully we're near the bottom of the crash. So when they do have the next enrollment, there will be much less risk that money that new students put into bots are going to experience a loss in value like we did this first half of 2022. So they were projecting, or some experts were projecting, that the crash would turn around and start heading back up maybe in October. Things are changing. Nobody really knows. So the idea was the next enrollment would probably not be till October, but they are talking now about maybe having earlier enrollment for the next course. So anyway, I would suggest you sign up, submit your name, email, address on the waiting list form, so you will be notified when the next course becomes available. And you have plenty of time to think about it. When you get all the data, what happens is first there will be at least one live webinar, maybe two, and there's just a lot of information. I forget how long the initial webinar is. It's probably at least an hour, maybe 2 hours. And then what they do is they follow up with at least one question-answer webinar. When I signed up, there were 2 of them back to back, and each one was about 4 to 5 hours long. They just stayed on as long as people had questions. So whatever question you have, I logged on, and then I had to go on another webinar for something else, a fundraising event for a church. And that was all done a couple hours later, and I got back on, and the question and answer thing was still going, because that one went for over 4 hours. And I posted a question, they answered it almost immediately. So you won't be lacking for information. The first live webinar, you'll be able to watch it later as a replay if you can't, if you're working or whatever, and you weren't able to watch it live. And I wish you the best of luck. It's exciting. Was the crash exciting? Well, yeah, it was pretty exciting, but just not enjoyable, and pretty tragic for some people that lost a lot of money. I nothing to do with the crash, but I did read one Reddit. If you're familiar with the Reddit forum or whatever you want to call it, that's people chat and share information about things they're interested in. And one of the problems with the crash was these protocols that pay you high interest, whatever, 15 to 20% interest, and it's like, well, how are they doing that? And it's like, well, there's no middleman, like in banks, so they can loan it out at a higher interest rate, or they're making money at a higher interest rate, so they can pay you the lower interest rate, which is still very high, blah, 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 blah. But then there were people screaming that those were Ponzi schemes, so, so a lot of that's being closely scrutinized right now. But one of those, a Reddit, I forget what you call it, a conversation string of conversation. This one guy said how there was a phishing scam, PHISING, where you get an email, but it's a phony email that's made to look like it's the actual company or organization, and they say, blah, 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 there's this problem, you need to, whatever, log in and all this shit, and then they get your information, and they steal your money. Well, this message the guy left, he thought he was transferring $400,000 of his parents' retirement income to one of these high-interest sites, and it turned out to be a scam wallet address, and he transferred that $400,000 to that wallet address that was not the official one, and he lost his parents $400,000. It's just terrible to think about that. So you do need to be careful, but if you are careful and diligent, this can be an exciting system to use to help generate cash flow. That's all I have to say for now, and I wish you the best of luck, and see you next time.